Diversity is where all the good stuff happens. It's where we can learn from each other and enrich our experiences and learn to be better.
Simply really, it's to lead the most authentic life I can without hiding a major part of who I am. Has it been easy? Far from it in the early days. But for me, it was and has been the right decision. I know people who are gay and not out, and for the most part, they appear to live in fear of someone finding out, someone stopping loving them, someone doing something. I couldn't live with that fear anymore. It's so important to have people who support you, care for you, and love you just as you are, whether this is family, friends, or people at work. People who don't judge you just for the fact you are different to them. People who will support you when they see that you're being discriminated against because of your sexual orientation.
For a lot of people, there's an assumption that if you look or act a certain way, that tells them something about your gender. And sometimes that's the case, but sometimes it isn't. For me, being out is about inviting others to see me as I see myself, and building spaces and networks where I can get love, support, and respect as me, rather than as what other people assume I am. Not everyone comes out. Some people are out to certain people only, or in some spaces and not others, and other people aren't out at all. There are a lot of reasons why a person might not be out. Might jeopardize their or their loved one's safety, livelihood, or relationships. It might be a privacy thing. It might not be a priority right now. Or they might just not want to be out at all. Coming out isn't a thing that all LGBT+ people have to do. Whether a person is out or not doesn't make them more or less of who they are. It's completely a personal choice and not information that anyone has any right to or that should be shared with other people without permission. Think of it less as someone coming out and more as them inviting in by sharing that part of their identity with people.
When I was younger, all I wanted to do was be out. I craved to be accepted for who I was, but I could not even accept who I was myself. And until I reached the point, the thought of crossing that threshold and being an out gay man absolutely terrified the living daylights out of me. I even contemplated suicide a few times to make it all go away. And it wasn't until eventually I had counselling with Relationships Australia's Rainbow Health Service and began the process of understanding myself, accepting myself, and loving being me. And I didn't come out until I was 24, and I was lucky enough to receive nothing but love and support from my family and friends. But yeah, there were quite a few hiccups along the way as well. But now that feels like a lifetime ago, and I'm happy and proud to be the man that I am. The point of my story is to say that different people are at different stages on their very own journey, and that no one should put pressure on anyone to rush ahead on their own path. Just let them know that they are loved, that they are amazing, and that the world is so much better with them in it. And that their path may be different to yours, but they have your hand in theirs along the way, no matter what may lay ahead.
Hi everyone, my name is Tanya, and I work for Multicultural Australia in Toowoomba. My name is actually spelled with a J, and a lot of people find that unusual and weird. And that is because I'm from Croatia, so my name is pronounced Tanja, and it's spelled with a J, T-A-N-J-A. So that's a big part of my identity, the way someone will pronounce my name and the way someone will spell it as well. And the other thing that's a big part of my identity is being queer, and I actually prefer if people use my name instead of using any pronouns.
So a few of us started this whole working group to support our clients who identify as LGBTIQ, and also to support staff who may be working with people like me and others for the first time. I've had a few shocked faces and steps back from staff when I say I don't have a wife or my partner's called Michael. If you want to know something, don't presume, just ask me. If you want support for a client, ask me, and if I can't help, I'll point you in the right direction.
An ally is someone who has a genuine strong concern for the well-being of LGBTIQ people and supports, accepts and advocates for equal rights and fair treatment. There are many things that we can do to be a good ally for people who identify as LGBTIQ. One good starting point is to identify discrimination and unconscious bias. Fear of discrimination or not being taken seriously, including within the mainstream community or a particular service, can actually make it really difficult for people to want to discuss what is happening for them or to feel accepted. Some other ways that you can be an ally include staying informed, speaking up, being honest, supporting equality, and coming out as an ally.
The worst thing you can do is judge me by your preconceived ideas or ingrown beliefs. Just because you've been told something for many years doesn't mean it's right. I'm a complex gay guy. I love rugby, musicals, gardening, as well as wearing the occasional tutu.
I think when interacting with clients, it is really important to ask questions, as well as if you're interacting with staff members. If you're not sure about something, ask the question instead of assuming. And us as community services professionals, we cannot allow ourselves to assume things. This is very important and this is crucial in our day-to-day work, in my opinion. So if anyone in Toowoomba has any questions, please feel free to approach me. I'm more than happy to chat, and I'm more than happy to share my experience, and I would like to learn more about you as well.
That you can tell someone's sexual orientation by their body language, voice, or the way they dress. There's a really great resource online called The Genderbread Person. They explain the concept of gender in a simple and digestible way. So attraction or sexual orientation is a whole separate thing to gender expression, which is about a person's body language, voice, dress, etc. One does not equal the other. As you can see from The Genderbread Person, there are actually 4 different areas that we can think about when we talk about a person's gender. All of them are independent of each other, and a person could have any combination of these qualities. So for example, a person's biological sex might be male and they might have feminine gender expression. This does not necessarily mean that they are attracted to men or that they identify as female. Also, all of these qualities exist on a sliding scale. Many of us exist somewhere in the middle rather than at one end or the other.
There are so many myths about LGBTIQ folk, and I've lost count of the number of times people have said things like, well, don't all gay men like musicals? No, I do, by the way. Or, you can't like rugby, you're gay. Or, you only watch for the men? No, I'm a season ticket holder for the Reds. I'll get up early to watch England hopefully thrash Australia in the World Cup. And by the way, I played until my early 20s.
Well, creating a sense of belonging is key for me in building a healthy and thriving personal life and professional life and community. Helping people find where they belong, find their people, where they can be truly themselves is why I do the job I do. Diversity is where all the good stuff happens, where we can learn from others and enrich our experiences and learn to be better. So I want my world to be filled with diversity, where everyone feels they belong and are valued. I believe using inclusive language is crucial in creating this world. Language is a weapon. It can hold immense power and it can also cause considerable pain. When language is used for good, it can mean the difference between acceptance and rejection. I know that by including someone, by being intentional with my language and ensuring it is inclusive, can help people feel a sense of belonging and feel valued and supported and to feel understood. If I'm using language that excludes, I'm saying, you don't belong here, this isn't for you, and I don't see you or seek to understand you. I want my world to be filled with love and acceptance, where diversity is celebrated and valued, and that's why I try to use words with this purpose. I ask for people to pull me up on my assumptions for when I may not be using inclusive language, and I know this might be embarrassing or awkward for both of us, but I don't want my words to cause harm. I want my words to include and not divide. I want my words to reflect my values.
We live in a nation where generations of LGBTIQA+ people fought the good fight and even lost their lives in the pursuit of equality for marginalised Australians. Many countries continue to put the lives of LGBTIQ people at risk, whether that be through lack of healthcare, political or religious institutions. Australia's legacy on treatment of gay people, it lingers in me. I guess it's like intergenerational trauma. I grew up in the 80s when the AIDS epidemic was translated through Aussie TV screens as these grim reapers in some kind of hellish bowling alley, and they literally bowled down everyday people. They were striking men, women and children out. Of course, they were all white and they were all straight. It sounds comical, but the voiceover called it the gays' disease. This type of stuff really burdened me with shame. It characterised my youth. It's hard to shake even today. To be honest, I don't want to come out. I don't want to be out. I wish I didn't ever have to come out. I wish it wasn't a thing. Yet, I'll spend the rest of my life coming out at family gatherings, at parties, in workplaces, on holidays, even at funerals. I'm okay with it, but the story reinforces that I'm somehow different, and there was a time in my life when being gay wasn't celebrated. So I'm a privileged Australian gay man. So this group is helping me to learn more about what gender diversity and sexuality means at much more meaningful levels beyond my own worldviews and experiences. Our clients' experiences and stories might be different to mine, but I have a shared understanding about having to always repeat a story that brings up shame and worthlessness. I bet you also have a story that's your Achilles heel. But our stories are much more interesting than what makes us different. And it leads to labels. That doesn't really help anybody much. In fact, me being gay is the most boring thing about me. I invite, or maybe even challenge you to spark your curiosity and join with us as we explore together gender diversity and sexuality at Multicultural Australia and with the communities and the clients that we work with.
We invite Multicultural Australia staff and the wider community to reflect on how you're making an inclusive space for your clients, customers, family, friends, colleagues and communities. Language matters, and make sure you're inclusive and kind. Be curious and open to learning more about the experiences of LGBTIQ Australians.
Multicultural Australia's LGBTIQ working group is here to talk about all things rainbow for our clients, staff and communities. We're also working towards the Rainbow Tick, which recognises organisations that are committed to safe and inclusive practice and service delivery for lesbian, gay, bisexual, intersex and transgender people.